Welcome back to Mo Truth Animated as we destroy Thanksgiving and expose true American history. We are about to go on an epic ride and adventure, so stay tuned. This will be my greatest video yet. Here we are in 1620. The Pilgrims from England are coming to invade the indigenous natives. My brothers, my name is Mo Truth and I'm from the future. Look out into the sea. There is coming invaders from dark cold lands coming to bring deadly diseases.
Oh, thank God we landed. Don't listen to him. He's talking crazy. We traveled across the great ocean to escape an evil king.
We welcome you. There is enough land for you and your people to settle here in this great territory. We will help you any way we can.
Shake my head. Looks like I gotta take things into my own hands. I want y'all to remember this rocket launcher. Let me hide this bad boy in the bushes.
Here, this is Mosaic, deer fur blanket that will keep you warm this winter.
The Wampanoag tribe taught the Pilgrims how to survive the winter, how to fish, grow corn, and help them build villages.
Yeah, we don't celebrate the lies of giving. Table full of pain, that's the real Thanksgiving. Still we rise, still we shine through the damage. Never stop fighting colonizers in the havoc. Get me vibe, but the truth stay hidden. History speaks, but they try not to listen. Cool flow, but the truth stay burning. Feast on the story, not the version they turning. They came with a smile and a plan for the land. Handshaking the right, left hand with the scam. They called it
Psalms 55:21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet they were drawn swords. The colonizer's superweapon was his friendly, innocent smile, which let everybody's guards down so he may devour later.
Called it a harvest, we called it survival. They called it a dinner, we called it a rival. A thief just as guests hit the weapons inside him. Turn to welcome in the war and then load to describe it. I'm calm, but the knowledge still sharp like a spear. Laid back tone, but the message stays clear. We ain't praying to our holiday built off invasion. We're proclaiming truth in a world full of vasing, yeah.
Listen up, y'all. We are dealing with a superior machine. They will never stop coming over in ships and invading your land until you are all dead. Let me call my squad in to give you all some real choppers to kill these colonizers.
Peace in my chest, but resistance in my spirit. Truth in my voice, if you real, you gon' hear it. We don't celebrate the lies of giving. Table full of pain, that's the mood Thanksgiving. Still we ride, still we shine through the damage. Never stop fighting colonizers and they havoc, yeah we ride. But the truth
I told y'all to remember this cannon. Now watch this. I got a show for y'all.
will stay hitting. History speaks, but they try not to listen. Stay hitting. Listen, cool flow.
We are African, and we happen to be in America. We're not American. We are people who formerly were Africans who were kidnapped and brought to America. Our forefathers weren't the Pilgrims. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. The rock was landed on us. We were brought here against our will. We were not brought here to be made citizens. And because we weren't brought here to be made citizens today, now that we've become awakened, now that we've become awakened to some degree.
King James I, he who translated the Bible into English so the English people could read it for the first time, he signed a charter in 1606 giving English colonizers permission to invade Turtle Island 400 years ago. 1 year later, in 1607, the great colonizers from the north swarmed down over the earth and landed in Turtle Island, which they would rename to America. The first place the English settled was Virginia, where James Smith met Pocahontas and used her so his people could survive. In 1613, she was kidnapped by the English who raped her for 10 months, and then she was forced to marry James Rolfe, who coerced her to go to London under the name Rebecca Rolfe, to show the English people that the natives and colonizers had good, peaceful relations, and that the natives could be Christians, which allowed more money and support to be sent to the colony. Don't worry, princess. Judgment to Babylon is coming soon. In the meantime, let's jump to the year 1619, Jamestown, Virginia, 400 years ago. All right, y'all, here we go. Down the rabbit hole. I'ma need y'all to pay close attention from here on out. In the year 1619, the royal descendants of the House of David arrived to America. Antony Negro and Isabella Negro, marking the 400-year countdown for the tribe of Judah's prophecy, Genesis 15:13-14. Then the Lord said to Abram, "Know for certain that your descendants will be strangers in a land that is not their own, and they will be enslaved and mistreated 400 years. Our 400 years ended in 2019. 20 times 20 equals 400 years. The Most High giving us signs to see for those that can spiritually see. 2020 Spiritual Clear Vision." Antony Negro and Isabella Negro descends from Yahya al-Aswad, aka Yahya the Negro, a nobleman living in Portugal, from the tribe of Judah who has direct lineage to King David. He was given the title Lord of the Village of the Negroes. He was made Chief Rabbi of Portugal. He is the forefather to the Ibn Yahya family, a prominent elite status family of blacks living in the village of the Negroes. In 1497, King Manuel ordered all the Jews to be kicked out of Portugal or forced to convert to Christianity. Many Jews, including the Ibn Yahya Negro family, was exiled to colonies that Portugal established in Angola, West Africa. Portugal turned around and began enslaving people in Angola, and that's when warrior Queen Nzinga rose in power and fought back against the invaders from the port of Gog. Queen Nzinga was undefeated and never lost a battle to Portugal, and her kingdom was never conquered, and she forced Portugal to sign peace treaties on her terms. She's a true, strong black queen who fought and killed colonizers to save her people from slavery. However, Portuguese did manage to escape with some slaves. One ship that managed to capture slaves from Angola was the San Juan Bautista, which was ambushed by the White Lion in 1619. The Englishmen boarded the ship and took the slaves for themselves and then sailed to Jamestown, Virginia to trade the slaves. Among those first slaves that stepped in Jamestown was Antony Negro and his wife Isabella Negro, descendants of Yahya the Negro, descendant of King David, descendant of Judah, descendant of Israel, descendant of Abraham. The 400-year torture and oppression and mental slavery of the lost tribe of Judah begins in 1619. The colonizers were a very sexually immoral people. Their first time seeing naked black people, the colonizer women secretly lusted after the black men, which caused colonizer men to hate black men even more. However, the colonizer men secretly lusted at the black women and their shape and would grape them. And this caused jealousy and hatred from the colonizer women who couldn't compete with the curves, thickness, and melanin of the black woman, so the colonizers went on a beauty campaign to teach that the European image is the standard of beauty, to lift the colonizer women's self-esteem. The colonizers come from a culture of homosexuality from the Roman and Greek days, so the colonizers would buck break black men in front of the other slaves. The colonizers loved to sodomize other men and forced homosexuality into the black community because the colonizer was secretly attracted to the black man sexually. The white man's greatest shame is his attraction to the colonizers was obsessed with skin color and hated anything not white. They murdered millions of the dark brown copper Negro tribes. They raped hundreds of thousands of Native women, getting them pregnant, causing the Native Americans to progressively become lighter over the generations. The colonizers practiced strict ethnic lightening, murder the dark-skinned men and impregnate the women, teach the mixed offspring to only marry somebody lighter so their race can become as white as possible. The dislike for dark-skinned grew rampant in the USA. The colonizers sent Native children to special schools where they were brainwashed and taught by the conqueror. They taught the children to worship white Jesus and pray to a white man. They were brainwashed on a mass scale and re-educated with European ideology. Colonizers encouraged and urged natives to marry only someone with lighter skin. Teachers brainwashed native graduates to marry white people to civilize their race. The mixed natives were treated better and had more perks amongst white society, so that was incentive for natives to only marry somebody lighter.
Get away from us. The white man said to only marry lighter-skinned men, so our people can one day look like him.
The colonizers purposely only dealt with light-skinned mixed tribes and made treaties with lighter-skinned chiefs who bent the knee. Even still, the U.S. government broke treaty after treaty after treaty with the natives and slaughtered thousands of them any given day. The U.S. government gave them blankets infected with smallpox that killed millions of natives. 90% of native tribes were killed by smallpox and other European diseases.
taking food out the huts, dragged it back to their towns, told they women fix it up. Thanksgiving ain't holy, it's a murder parade, a victory feast built on lies, death and rage. Stole land, stole crops, stole lives for a meal, then taught us all to smile like the blood ain't real. But God said he hates wicked feast days, fact, so I celebrate the decks that were stacked against black.
Don't touch that plate, that's an evil feast, built on the fall of the West and the East. Judgment coming for Babylon streets, fire on the land for the native blooded screams. Wake up, my people, don't die with the beast. Turn from the lies, let the wickedness cease. America's fall, justice unleashed. Babylon trembling and time is decreased.
To starve out the Native Americans, the USA Cavalry and civilian hunters dedicated their lives to mass killing as many bison as they can, so the Native Americans wouldn't have a source of meat and protein, leading to the deaths of many Native Americans. So today, me and Super Buffalo will get revenge and kill as many hunters and cavalry troops as possible. Send them colonizers flying. Now let's pile up these things. Go ahead, boy, and destroy that train. We gotta cut off the colonizers and trade lanes. So, how did the indigenous Americans get to the Americas? Many of the first people in the Americas, aka Turtle Island, are from the 10 lost tribes of Israel. It started when the 10 tribes of the northern kingdom of Israel were conquered by the Assyrian Empire and deported out of their own land. So the 10 tribes that were deported vowed to travel to a land where no humans ever dwelt and practiced the laws and customs of the Torah. So they crossed over the Euphrates River, and the Most High held still the waters and used signs to guide them to a faraway land called Arsareth. Some traveled by ship, and some traveled to Siberia and crossed the Bering Strait land bridge, entering Alaska, and spread from there all over Turtle Island. 2 Esdras, 1340-45. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanasar the king of Assyria led away captive, and he carried them over the waters. And so came they into another land, but they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen, and go forth into a further country, where never mankind dwelt, that they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the flood, till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of 1.5 years, and the same region is called Arsareth. The children of Israel discovered Arsareth and began spreading and settling through the land, developing distinct cultures as centuries passed. As they migrated towards the west coast, they came across Asians who traveled across the Pacific Ocean, and others who came down by way of Bering Strait to Alaska. The Israelites intermarried with the Asians, and over the generations of intermingling, the tribes blended into the copper-toned, Afro-Asiatic, tall like West Africans, hair like Asian, people of this land. The Hamites and Egyptians also traveled to the Caribbean, Mexico, and Florida. Black and Asian people knew about the existence of Turtle Island, Arsareth, before the Europeans, who were still banished up north. However, the children of Israel slowly abandoned their identity, which then allowed the Europeans to come invade and bring forth the curses of Deuteronomy 28. Nearly 180 years before Christopher Columbus, the ruler of what was then the richest empire on earth, Mansa Abu Bakr, became deeply curious about what lay beyond the great ocean. Educated in the highest centers of knowledge at Timbuktu, he pursued this question seriously. He first launched an expedition of 200 ships to explore the unknown waters. Unsatisfied, he then abandoned his throne and personally led a far greater voyage, 2,000 ships, crossing the ocean to the Caribbean, where his people established settlements and communities. Him leaving his throne gave way for Mansa Musa to take his place as the ruler of Mali and becoming the richest man in modern human history. During his famous pilgrimage to Mecca, Mansa Musa stopped in Egypt, and there a journalist interviews him and asked him, how did he become king? Mansa Musa answered and said he replaced the previous Mansa, who left his throne with 2,000 ships to sail across the great ocean. Mansa Abu Bakr, the king of Africa, discovered Arsareth 180 years before Christopher Columbus knew it existed. When the black Muslims from Mali reached the Caribbean and Mexico, they came across local native tribes who were already here from the children of Israel, traded with them, and were absorbed into the native population. Everybody knew about the existence of Arsareth, aka the Americas, except one race. In the far north, cut off away from society, banished beyond the Caucasus Mountains, there lies a cold-hearted, ruthless, barbaric people, a wild, warlike tribe of people who were known for invasion and corruption. The children of Magog, who originates in Russia and Scandinavia, a rough environment that turned their hearts into ice. Their only mission on Earth was to escape the Caucasus Mountains and invade the world. After being banished up north and locked behind a wall in the mountains by a great king, the tribes of Gog and Magog dig every day, trying to break through the iron wall. In the meantime, they spent thousands of years fighting and killing each other. Every few hundred years, a new army from the tribe of Magog rises up from behind the Caucasus Mountains deep in Russian, where the portals are, to invade Europe and go to war with the Magog tribes that came before them. Over history, Gog and Magog invades in waves until the final wave during the final showdown, which is World War III. One of the first waves was the Scythians, who came out of Russia to invade Europe and the Caucasus. Other waves include the Huns, the Goths, the Khazars, the Mongols, the Vikings, the Spanish conquistadors, to the British Empire, the USA Army, to Israel and NATO. The armies of Gog and Magog has invaded Earth. Two tribes that descends from Magog, the Alans and Vandals, migrated west from the Caucasus region and eventually invaded Europe, reaching Iberia, modern Spain and Portugal. Later, the Goths, also descendants of Magog, entered Iberia and defeated the Alans and Vandals, establishing the Visigothic kingdom as the ruling power. In 711 AD, Muslim forces crossed into Iberia, defeated the Goths, and took control of the land, which became known as Al-Andalus. Muslim rule lasted for several centuries. During this time, this forced the Goths to establish Christian kingdoms, and they launched repeated military campaigns over generations in an effort to reclaim Iberia from Muslim rule. Portugal gets its name from Port of Gog. Portugal was the port entering into the land of Gog, aka Europe, and the Muslims held the front down for 780 years, preventing Gog and Magog from invading the earth. But Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand rose into power and instituted the Spanish Inquisition, which meant they tortured and forced Muslims and Jews to become Christian or be exiled out the land or killed. In 1492, Queen Isabella defeated the last Muslim stronghold and then kicked out all of the black Jews out of Spain. They ransacked their strongholds, synagogues, mosques, and libraries. The Spanish tortured Muslims and Jews and extracted information on the location of another land across the Atlantic Ocean and how to navigate there. During their rule of Iberia, the black Muslims made frequent trips across the Atlantic Ocean. Queen Isabella took up Christopher Columbus' offer to travel across the ocean to see if it was true about another land. 1492, the year black Israelite Muslims lost rulership over Europe. 1492, the year Gog and Magog had officially left Europe and began their invasion of Earth. 1492, the year Pope Alexander became Pope, the man who enforced the painting of white Jesus by Leonardo da Vinci, a tool used to control the world. Pope Alexander ordered the Roman army to destroy all depictions of black and brown Jesus, and he ordered the Catholic churches to display the white Jesus, depicted after his son Cesare Borgia. 1492, the year the world was never the same again. In the 700 years that black Muslims and Arab Muslims ruled Al-Andalus, they taught the Europeans math, science, astrology, medicine, hygiene, navigation, and overall higher learning. While Europe was in the Dark Ages due to the collapse of the Roman Empire, Al-Andalus was considered paradise on earth. Due to its lush gardens, agriculture skills, beautiful architecture, paved lit streets while the rest of European streets were dark and muddy. Muslims introduced public bathhouses, hospitals, and fountains. Cities such as Cordoba, which was the largest city in Europe at the time, Granada and Toledo were considered the intellectual capitals of Europe, preserving Greek philosophy that was lost, mathematics, medicine, and law. Massive libraries and universities. Al-Andalus was during the golden age of Islam, where Muslims, Jews, and Christians lived in relative peace and tolerance. Europeans traveled to Andalus to learn from the black Muslims and black Jews, aka the Moors. All the knowledge coming from Al-Andalus gave birth to the Renaissance for the rest of Europe. This backfired on Muslims as the now educated Europeans used that knowledge to overthrow them and then invade the entire earth. The colonizers had a weapon that no other race had: evil in their heart. The Europeans also had a weapon the world has never seen before: the musket. The Native Americans didn't know what cannons, rifles, and gunpowder were, so they were easily killed off by these new weapons. Christopher Columbus saw how peaceful and kind the natives were and knew he would enslave them. He went back to Spain to inform King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella of the land he found, and they sent the Spanish conquistadors to the Caribbeans to kill and invade. They sent Herman Cortes to Mexico to kill and invade the Aztecs. All of Arcereth fell to the Spanish Gog, and the Spanish forced all of Arcereth to speak Spanish. And the port of Gog, aka Portugal, invaded Brazil and forced them to speak Portuguese. And now today, the great colonizer, USA, is surrounding Venezuela with their navy ready to invade and kill and destroy the South Americans again. Hernán Cortés led the conquistadors into Tenochtitlan, kidnapped the Aztec ruler, and ruled through him like a puppet. He stole their gold and treasure, while Spanish diseases wiped out millions of native people. After 700 years under Muslim rule and cleanliness, the Spanish still carried filth, germs, and disease, and the natives' bodies had no immunity to it. Whole villages died. Spain stole so much gold that boats sank in the canals before reaching the ships. They came back again, stealing more gold from the Aztecs and silver from Bolivia and Mexico. That stolen wealth built Spain's armies and navies, fueling wars and conquest across the Caribbean, South America, Mexico, California, Texas, and the Philippines. And now, Awakenati gotta ruin their plan. Hold up, colonizer. It's over with, big dog. Go ahead and back up slowly, my nigga, before I blow your face off. That's right. Put the treasure down. Lock these niggas up, bro. Put them in that cage. What's all that shaking? The pyramid is about to crash down. Let's get up out of here.
Let's get it. Welcome to Mo True TV, where the truth hit hard like a Uzi. I'm on age of time, moving righteous, never losing. Watch Babylon fall, can't fool me with a movie. Judah tribe rise, we the real, not the goofy. Welcome to Mo True TV.
In the early USA before 1863, there was so much killing and slaughter of the natives committed by the American colonizers that there were multiple Thanksgivings a year. Each city and town and state had their own random Thanksgiving celebrations where they would celebrate defeating and slaughtering another native village and stealing all of their food, animals, and harvest. It became so much out of hand that in 1863, Abraham Lincoln issued the Proclamation of Thanksgiving, ordering that only one national Thanksgiving Day be held once per year on the last day of Thursday of November. Abraham Lincoln knew how murderous, treacherous, and savage the American people had become. The Gullah Geechee people were West African soldiers living in the Carolinas that were enslaved by the colonizers to work in rice fields. The Gullah Geechee rebelled and killed the slave masters and escaped to Florida to form an alliance with the Seminoles. The Gullah Geechee brought their African military skills and experience living in West African swamps to help the Seminoles defeat the USA colonizers. The only tribe the USA couldn't defeat was the Seminoles and the Gullah Geechee, who had mastered survival in the Florida swamps. The USA Army came into the swamps and were repeatedly destroyed by the Seminoles and Gullah Geechee, guerrilla warfare, hit-and-run tactics, as well as the swamp itself. The snakes, alligator-infested waters, poison darts, mosquitoes, quicksand, heat, and bacteria wiped out the USA Army, giving the black Seminoles the title of the Unconquerable People. Andrew Jackson, one of the most evil USA presidents, signed the Indian Removal Act to remove the Cherokees and other tribes from southern states. Andrew Jackson believed whites and natives couldn't coexist as equals, and he wanted them to move out west. And also, the white colonizers wanted the Cherokees' cotton-rich fields so they can build their cotton plantations for the Israelite slaves they were shipping in from West Africa to work in. The Indian Removal Act of 1830 led to the evil USA Army kicking out tens of thousands of Cherokees out of the southern states and forcing them to walk thousands of miles out west. This is called the Trail of Tears, where thousands of natives had to walk across the country in the cold winter, crying and freezing to death and starving to death. The Western European colonizers is a fierce nation who has no regard for the old or young. Deuteronomy 28:49-50. The Lord will bring a nation against you from afar, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flies, a nation whose language you will not understand, a nation of fierce countenance, which does not respect the elderly, nor pity for the young. Native Americans, Caribbean, and Black Americans are the only people on earth to fit the curses of Deuteronomy 28. This is why we all ended up in the same land throughout our history and all the different paths we took, beginning with the great split of the kingdom of Israel dividing into two kingdoms after the death of King Solomon, aka Prophet Suleiman, when the 10 tribes were deported out of northern Israel by the mighty Assyrian Empire, and when the kingdom of Judah was deported out of southern Israel by the Romans, and they fled to West Africa, Morocco, and Spain. Over all of our migration history, we all ended up in the Americas, with the same enemy, the Eagle Nation, the USA, the daughter of Babylon, where the great nuclear judgment showdown will be held. Jeremiah 50:33. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. The last resistance leader against the USA invasion of Western America was Geronimo. He was a military genius, a master of strategy and psychological warfare. He spent years defeating the USA Army with ambushes and cunning tactics, slowing them down from stealing more land. It was impossible to track him as he left no tracks and could disappear into the desert and canyons. The USA Army eventually conducted the largest manhunt in USA history to track him down and finally catching him after he surrendered as an old man, leading an end to the Apache Wars. The colonizers did all kinds of evil to natives and Black Americans, using black children as alligator bait, taking black skin and turning it to leather to make shoes, belts, wallets, and purses. It was considered high fashion to have items made of black skin and to keep trophies of black ears and fingers and other body parts.
We don't celebrate the lies of giving. Table full of pain, that's the real Thanksgiving. Still we rise.
There you have it, the history of Thanksgiving exposed. When you celebrate Thanksgiving, you are partaking in the victory feast over the Native American slaughter and theft of land and food. Many of us descend from Native Americans. Many of us descend from the tribes of Israel who were already here before white people came. Instead of Thanksgiving, get together with your family and observe the Passover feast like the Messiah did. Instead of eating turkey, eat lamb like the Messiah did. Passover is a family feast that's mentioned in the Holy Scriptures. Stay away from this wicked colonizer feast dedicated to bloodshed and murder. Do not be like the ignorant black folks who say, we don't care about the history and meaning. We just want to eat good food and spend time with family. That arrogant, careless mentality keeps us destroyed as a people and at the bottom of society as you are subliminally giving your energy to your own defeat. Well, now you all know the truth about Thanksgiving history, American history, and colonizer history, where they come from and who they are. We now know where the natives come from and who they are. I destroyed Halloween. I destroyed Thanksgiving. Next up is Christmas. Here is a preview of what's to come in my Christmas Destroyed adventure.
Yeah, I'm wide awake, I see the devil's costume switch. Santa Satan in the sky, same lie, new trick. You can't fool my truth, I'm with the awakened night. Behind that fake smile, I see the devil hiding. The Christmas tree's an altar in the living room. Jesus better not catch you with that altar in your homes. Milk and cookies for a demon, taught to kids to comply. Training wheels for deception, Santa Satan in the sky. Stay awake, run fast, get away from pagan holidays. We ain't white, so we shouldn't celebrate the pagan holidays. Lord told us when Satan said he will build his throne. December 25th, old guys rebranded. Same serpent, different name, same tone. Learn from holidays, built on idols, lies in the sea. If it don't honor God, it's a snare for your feet. Son of Satan in the skies, I will pay for your soul. While the soul get taxed and the spirit goes broke. I'm here to cancel Christmas, expose what it is. True bombs ringing louder than sleigh bells ever did.
You never know what's going on in the mind of Mo Truth. My pineal gland is fully activated, flowing with creative juice. Make sure you press the like, subscribe, and hit the bell button so you will be notified when I drop my next video. This has been brought to you by Super Black Comics and Super Niggas Entertainment. Support our future videos through either Cash App or PayPal. We appreciate it. Stay tuned for my Christmas Destroyed docu-adventure.